Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Ed Talk TV, Conversations Worth Having. I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Tell me, how is it going? How is your Tuesday going? I hope it's going great. You'll notice here that I scheduled this broadcast, if you're familiar with our show and if you watch it all the time. Normally, we will play around with this. It's one of those things that, and if you see me looking down, it's because I have my phone here, and sometimes you can actually pin a comment. So I was going to pin the comment I just did, which I'll talk about in just a second. But Facebook's always changing, and right now they don't let me comment it. So welcome, Nikki. I see you. I see you. I see you, Midori. I see you guys. Feel free to tag a friend in the comments, share this out to your network if you want. It's going to be a great show. We have a guest today, a guest who's been on the show before, who will be returning with us today. I'm really excited about that. But before we get into that, we're going to talk some random news. And before we get into that, I got to tell you a little bit about who I am if this is your first time. So I'm Ed Troxel. I'm your business development tech expert. So basically, I help you with whatever you need. I mean, that's just how it is around here. I encourage you all the time to not only share, but more importantly, comment. Not for me, not for the show, but for yourself. Because when you comment, you get seen, you get noticed. And my job, my big part of my job is to help you show up, deliver, and engage. And by encouraging you to do that, you're going to make it happen. And trust me, you will get seen. Not only by the people in the comments, but when people start Googling you, yeah, your comments will show up. That's right. Your comments here on this show will show up on Google, and we have proof because we've done that before. Hey, Midori, yeah, look at that. Rob, definitely. Come on over, Rob. We want to see you. And when you join live, I can actually put your comments on the screen when I'm using this. So be sure to do that. Couple quick little housekeeping things to show you. In the comments, I did put two things that I wanted you to be aware of. One is the new Hey Ed membership. Some of you are already in the group. I call it actually a community. I don't like to say group. It's a community, and it's only going to get bigger and better. I'm super excited about it, but that's still new, so you'll hear me talk about that a lot. That is a paid membership community where you can find out all the details. I have it there in the comments. Also, one last thing about other things, I was going to say one last promo, I guess, is my new training that just came out today. It's going to be a live paid training, so it won't be on Facebook Live, but a live paid training happening next week. A lot of you guys have been asking if I would do a training around starting your own magazine. So guess what? We're going to have a training on that, just not here on the show. So there's that. And see, that's the thing. You guys, we talk about this a lot, right? Ask and listen. You guys asked for it, and enough of you asked for this training that then I was able to listen and be able to apply what needed to be done. Now you're probably asking, and I won't go too far into this because you can check out the training itself, but some of you are asking, well, Ed, why you? Why would you do something on how to start a magazine? Great question. My first business was actually a magazine. I ran a magazine from scratch, both print and online. I did it for 2 years, 4 issues, and it was the best experience ever. That was my first business, my baby. So I love it, and it's awesome to be able to bring back those memories and to share that experience with you guys because you want it, and it's awesome. So thank you guys for asking for that and wanting to learn more about that. So there's that. Woo! That was a lot already. If you're new around here, always make sure to have water when you go live. That's a tip for you. Anytime you go live, you want to have water so you stay hydrated. So you see me drinking a little bit there. Yeah, Erica's here. Hello. Erica, you know, Rob Lowe might be the actor. Midori is famous, you guys. She knows all of the celebrities. She's all over the place. It's awesome. And we are very lucky to have her. So we'll be having her come on here soon. Now that we got that stuff out of the way, let's talk real quick about random news before we get into today's content, which if you want, even if you're watching the replay, you can try to guess what the 3 Ps are because we're going to be talking about that. So feel free at any time to jump into the comments, even if you're watching the replay, because I know a lot of you are going to be either listening to this live right now while you're doing the dishes, putting the kids to bed, whatever. A lot of our UK viewers will be ready to sleep. So that's because it's like midnight their time, and we're an international show. So that's all good, and we get a lot of people that will catch up on all the episodes on the weekends. We go live Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we love having guests on. So if you want to become a guest at any point in time, hey Tammy, welcome. At any point in time, you can always go to edtalktv.com. I'll put that in the comments later, not now, don't go now, don't go now. But that's how you find out more about this show and how you can become a guest on the show. So there's all that information for you. Woo! That was a lot, right? So, random news. So yesterday we talked a little bit about Apple's event. For those who are Apple people, even if you're not, you should still pay attention. That today they had an event in Chicago that was an education event. And so real quick, these are just quick highlights because I don't want to dive too far into it because it actually would be a whole nother show topic. But the new iPad that they came out with apparently is, it's always slightly better than whatever's out there. It's slightly faster than whatever's out there. And because I know this is a big selling point for you guys, and I know that this is the one feature that will make or break your purchase. This is a big one. This is really, really big. And so they did come out with this. So I know a lot of you are going to be like, yes. For me, it's not my thing. I've never been really that concerned about this feature. But the feature for this new iPad is it comes in a new shade of gold that's slightly pinker. Yeah. So you can have your rose gold, your slightly pink rose gold, and then your gold. I think they still have that. So there's that. Anyway, again, that's not a big selling point for me. I want to see real features. No offense. I love you guys. But I want to see real features like improved battery life, not necessarily for the iPad because that has a good battery, but you know what I'm saying, like improved battery life. In this particular case, since it's talking about the education presentation that they had today and how iPads want to be in schools more, because you have this whole debate around how Apple is very into education, which is great, but the equipment's expensive. So people can't afford to have all the iPads in the school, even though they want them and that they're great tools and that they're really worth the money. I mean, no doubt, how many of us can raise our hand for an iPad or an iPhone? Like, it's worth the money because of the access you get through that device. But from an educational standpoint, in these elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, they can't afford mass quantities of these because they're too expensive. The new one is going to cost for schools. It's going to be still $299. For regular customers, it's $329. So you think, okay, well, $299 is kind of a good deal, but when you multiply that by how many kids are in a classroom, let's say let's just be generous and say 20. I know that most classrooms are probably closer to 30, maybe even more, but let's just say 20. You times that by that and, you might still get a small percentage off, but it's still expensive. So it's one of those things that, you have to think how much of an impact do you want to make and how quickly. So, again, this can be a whole nother show topic, but real quick, the debate really with education is, okay, you have Apple with iPads, which they want to get into the schools and have everyone have an iPad in their hands because it's not just the iPad, but it's the apps. Remember, it's all about the apps when it comes to Apple. Like that's just, let's face it, that's what it is. It's all about the apps, and that's what gets you what you want in the world. And that's why most apps come out for iPhone, iPad first, which is iOS, rather than in the Google Play Store. So there's a fun fact if you didn't know that, if you were like, well, why is it always iPhone or iPad and not Android? Because you can't just say, oh, I want it for both right now. Like there's a process that has to go through there, and it's very expensive when you're developing your apps, which is why I suggest if you think you want to build an app, that's great, but do plenty of research because it is very expensive. Trust me, I have a few that I wanted to build. There's still one big one that I want to build, but you have to have the right people involved. You have to have the right setup. So the more research you can do, the better, just like anything, but especially when it comes to apps, because it's very expensive. So Apple is trying to get into the education even more with the iPads, but who has that upper hand right now? Google, Chromebooks, right? Chromebooks are, hold on, I have one. Chromebooks, let me get the dog hair off of there. Chromebooks are these little guys, right? So they look like a laptop. You're like, oh, Ed, no, that's a laptop. Well, it's not. It kind of is because it looks like a laptop. We're familiar with this look and how it flips open, but it is not necessarily a laptop like your computer on your desk or the computer at work. Chromebooks will basically allow you to get on the internet and basically let you do anything on Chrome, which you might be thinking, okay, cool, like all I do is spend most of my time in Chrome, whether it's Facebook, Gmail, whatever, no problem. But it will come down to when you start downloading things, and again, some of these things are possible, but it's just not as easy as it would be with a regular computer. So keep that in mind. It's the same thing, like iPads versus a desktop computer. Yes, they can do a lot of the same things, but there's going to be things that are more convenient on an actual computer than on an iPad. Same type of thing with Chromebooks. So keep that in mind, because I know I used to have customers that came in that bought a Chromebook, and they were really mad that they bought a Chromebook because after their kids started using it, they found out that they couldn't do certain things, so then they had to come in and buy I was going to say iMac, but MacBook Air, because that's like the simplest Apple computer that you can get. And they were really mad about the Chromebooks, and they thought they were garbage. Well, I mean, that could be hit or miss, but when it comes down to is, what do you do? What do you want to do? And what product is going to be best for you, right? Because I wouldn't recommend a Chromebook to you if you're trying to do anything more than just check your email and surf the web. I mean, that's pretty much my baseline there is like, hey, if that's all you're doing and you don't need to do anything else, sure, go get a Chromebook. But if you're going to do more things, then you need something else. So anyway, that's the 2 cents on that. We can definitely get into another show topic about that at a later time. But we're not doing that today. So now is the fun part. I'm going to go ahead and ring our guest today and have you guys see where we're going with our 3 Ps today. So be sure to say hello in the comments, and let me go ahead and ring our guest and switch our screen here to boom. Hello.
Hi.
I see you.
I'm just making sure I don't have Facebook on, so I'm screwing up everything. I'm trying to be all systematic right now.
Yes, that is awesome. And your picture is so clear. You guys, I can't tell you right now like how impressed I am with how there's been some updates on my end in terms of the programs I'm using. So maybe that's working, or you just have really good lighting with a camera that's just like the bomb right now.
Yeah, I do have lighting in here, and I have my Logitech camera, so that definitely helps.
Yeah, it looks so clear. Most of the time, for whatever reason, Skype won't come through as clearly, so I'm happy about this.
Yeah, I am too. I've looked terrible on Skype usually.
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself and just give people a little idea of who you are, because there might be some first timers here, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm Midori Verity, and I'm the one that helps couples press that reset button on their relationship when they've become disconnected or just not happy in the place that they are anymore. And I help them recreate an entirely new relationship that is based on fun, excitement, passion, and love. So that's what I do.
Love it.
In a nutshell.
I love it. Yes, and Midori and I go way back. We've known each other for a very, very long time, and it's been awesome. We've been having this conversation recently about, both of our businesses growing and being able to really just watch each other's growth and be there and connect with each other and just all the awesome things that happen, whether it's the littlest win to the biggest win, to the smallest, hurdle, to the biggest challenge. We've been there, we've gone through it, and we continue to go through that journey. And it's a lot of fun to be able to share that with somebody and to, be able to bring you on the show and connect as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've had all those conversations that have been good and bad. It's all part of being in business, right? It's just part of life. But yeah, and so it's fun to go on this journey with you, Ed.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. And it's so much fun to be able to connect with you. And like I was telling my audience yesterday, entrepreneurship it is a roller coaster, and there is a lot of moments where you're not sure what you can do next. You're depressed. Your anxiety will flare up. You'll have the time of your life, and then you'll be ready to crash, and you don't know what to do. And it was sparked because a friend over the weekend had posted, thankfully, had posted publicly what she was going through, and got so much support. But it was a good wake up call, because it allows us to all remember that we all go through the same stuff, right?
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah, it's that we all go through those same feelings, but because we're not right next to each other, or we're not right in the same room or area, we feel like we're alone, but we're not. We all have the same feelings, and we all go through those same emotions at different times, of course.
And that's part of being solopreneurs, or now there's so many businesses where we have VAs and we have people who work remotely, but we're in it by ourselves. And so it can be very, very challenging and very isolating. So it's so important to have these kind of connections like Ed and I do, and the other people that we work with, just to be kind of vulnerable and authentic, because chances are they've experienced the same thing. Yeah. So it really makes a big difference. It's
so true. And so with your business, and kind of diving into what we're going to cover today, what have you noticed, and where have you gone with these P's? Like, how have they translated into business?
Yeah. Okay. So let me just say, I'm a little bit older than you, Ed. So
just a teeny bit.
Just a little bit. But I have had my own business for over 25 years now. My husband and I have. And so where we started and the way that I'm formulating my business now is there's a much different focus.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing some big fat changes, and that's why I'm so excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Because for those who, it doesn't matter if you're already in business or if you're thinking of starting business, when you can formulate your business using these 3 Ps, and I'll give you those in just a split second, it transforms the way that you approach your business. And so what they are, the first one is purpose, your why. Why are you even doing what you're doing? The second one is pleasure, and then the third one is profit. So those are my 3 Ps. They can change a little bit, but in general, those are my 3 Ps that are my core values that I need to have in order to want to keep pursuing what I'm doing. Yeah. So let me go a little bit deeper so people understand what the heck I'm talking about.
Please, yeah.
So the purpose is, what's your biggest mission? What fulfills you? What has always kind of tugged at your heart? And how can you use your business to leverage becoming more of an influencer in that way, or making more of an impact in that certain area? So for me, it has always been with me that my core thing that I want to make a big impact in this world is ending child abuse. I was adopted at birth. And so I was the lucky one. And I think that's why it's just, since I was a little girl, that's always been kind of where my heart is.
Yeah.
And so when I finally said, you know what, I'm going to use my business I'm going to structure it so that I can start becoming more of an influencer and work towards ending child abuse, something changed immediately. It was amazing. It was not that I wasn't already doing good things in the world, but knowing that I'm using what I do every single day to make a difference really was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then let's go into some more positive things too. So pleasure, I have to have fun. That is a core value. You know me.
It's a must.
You know me. I have to have fun. So, and I'll tell you what my business is in a second, and how I incorporate all 3 of these. And then the third one is profit. If you're not having profit, you're going to get burnt out. If you have an entrepreneurial kind of spirit, it becomes a little bit debilitating. It becomes very debilitating, quite honestly, over time. And if you want to have some kind of power, you really do need to have that profit, because you can use that profit in a very positive, impactful way.
Oh, yeah.
So, right?
And with profit too, you guys, and I have to tell you this because it's something that I had to learn too, is if you're not making a profit, you're not really a business. And I say that and you're thinking, oh, well, Ed, but I just started and I'm not making any money. That's a little different. You have to work your way up. But I'm just saying, realize that you have to have a talk with yourself, a cutoff. If you've been doing this for a few years and you still haven't made a profit, but you haven't tried anything new either, well, you kind of have to have that conversation. We've talked about on the show before that, what was it? Amazon and Gary Vee, they both were, I think, around the 5 to 7 year mark. I keep getting the two confused, but up to 7 years without making a profit. And they're huge now. But they've tested things, they've tried things, they keep giving value, they keep tuning into their communities. Well, Gary Vee, and then obviously Amazon tunes into their reporting and stuff. But, so understand that, yes, you have to make a profit, but you also have to see where you're at in your business. What have you done? What have you tried? Like I mentioned at the beginning of this for you guys, is the new training. Literally, I had my first business was a magazine, right? And so that was a while ago, and I've put that in a box and I kind of just put it to the side. And I've had people that are like, Ed, can you do a training on this? I didn't even know you had a magazine. Where have I been? Even though they've known me for a while. And so it's that kind of stuff that you have to tune into and think, okay, well, sure, it wasn't on my list of trainings, but hey, people want it and people are signing up for it. So let's do it. Why not?
Yeah. It's tuning into that need and listening. I think it's so important. And that's the beauty of being a business like us.
Yes.
A smaller business versus a huge corporation. We can pivot. We can change. We can do what we need to do to take care of our community.
I love that. We can pivot. We can change. I love that.
Yeah. And so that's what I've done. And so what I've done, and Ed knows how crazy I am and what I'm all about. He understands me pretty well. So I've had Midori Verity International for a number of years now, and it's been great. But when I really started thinking, okay, I want to do something much bigger. I want to create a massive movement. Once I realized my 3 Ps, the purpose, pleasure, and profit, I'm like, okay, how can I do this? And how can I make this work? How can I think much bigger?
Yeah. And
so that's where Couples and Bubbles came in.
Okay.
And so what that is, it's all about, obviously, the couples are relationships. That's my zone of genius.
Yep.
And then the bubbles represent champagne and sparkling and celebration and fun and engagement. That's what it represents. So I have a business that we do Couples and Bubbles events. We're starting a Couples and Bubbles tour that will be throughout California.
Nice.
And then we're going to have a Couples and Bubbles gala. And so, but what everything is around is helping with ending child abuse. I've partnered with an organization. Yeah. So I'm so excited. I'm going to tell everyone why this is so important too, because there's so much more to this.
Sure.
Helping you with your business. So, so I've partnered, or I've become I'm on the board, and I'm helping out this organization called the Child Parent Institute, which I've been aware of for a number of years, but it's been around for 40 years. And they're local, and they help end child abuse in our community, and there's a huge need. And so anyway, I went in and I met with them for 2 hours. I'm like, okay, what can I do to help you? What do you need? And we just talked about it. And so I got a better understanding of them, and they got a better understanding of me. So that became part of my support team to help boost me up. So I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yes.
I can do this. I have these people that are behind me that really understand what I want and how I want to impact. And it's a win-win, right? So that's what I have done. I can't remember where I was going with that, but that's the formulation that I've done. And we're working on, with our first 3 events that we're doing, we're working on raising money to give them a video that can be done to spread their you spread what they're doing and let people know how awesome and incredible they are to our community. So it's pretty cool.
I just got chills. Okay, so I got to break some things down for you guys because so I did know about the Couples and Bubbles in terms of just the name and saw the pictures / video that you had on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So that's all I knew, you guys, until this moment. And so now everything makes sense, and I'm just like blown away because I want to, step back for a second and kind of pull apart a little bit of what you just said. You chose champagne, Bubbles there, not just because it was champagne and it's couples dining out, okay? Like, you guys understand that Midori just went deeper with us on that, is that it's because of what champagne represents, what we see with champagne, how things happen and develop. So that alone, I was just like, oh, like light bulb. And so again, it's that purpose and really what's that why behind it, and being able to not just pick, and I'm going to just say in general things for business, but like not just pick a color because you like it for your branding, not just pick, a name because it sounds good, but what's it represent? What's it mean? Not just to, put another service on your list of things that you offer because it's just, why not? You have to think about like, what is it bringing to you, and what are you going to bring to the people that you're going to serve too, So I really, really love that. And then you also took it to the next level with not just going at this by yourself, but partnering with somebody, they're nonprofit, you said, right?
They are a nonprofit. Yeah.
So partnering with a nonprofit, and not just partnering with them, but really understanding what they do, how you can help them, and in turn, how they're going to help you. And so that is huge right there for everyone watching. Like, if you get nothing else from this episode, which you will, but if you don't, that's the big part, is to really, again, teamwork equals success. I always say that. And that right there, really being able to just go take the big picture and narrow it down and say, okay, this is the pieces of the puzzle. And this is my why. This is why I did it. And I know you're always telling me, Midori, you got to think bigger. I still remember, you guys, this is why you have to have conversations with your entrepreneur friends, your small business friends. That's why it's important to be around like-minded people, because I still remember when I first started my business, full-time, that is, I was in Midori's kitchen because we live close enough. I was in her kitchen and we were going over things. And at the time, she was actually doing things on Periscope with, drink of the week, I think. What was it called?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It was something like that.
Yeah. It was something like, drink of the week.
Friday, I think it was like Friday happy hour.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Friday happy hour, which who doesn't want to tune into that? And so I still remember that you were like, every time I came up with something or was talking about something, you're like, Ed, think bigger. You got to think bigger. And of course, when I first started, I'm just like, well, I thought that was big. Oh, but now I see there's this bigger picture. And it takes a while, you guys. It doesn't just come to you right away. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to have people that are like-minded who can see it for you and help you with that.
So true. And let me just say, so you brought up a great point. Who you surround yourself with is what you're going to rise to. Yep. And so for me to be able to step into what I'm stepping into right now, it's scary because I'm thinking of taking this into making this a massive movement, bigger than anything that I had thought of before.
I love it.
But I've gotten involved with a group. I've been involved with them for almost about a year now, and these people are doing this. They're doing massive things, and they're not scared. Well, they are scared, but they keep on doing it, and they support each other, and the people that we are bringing into this group are incredible. And I'll tell you about one guy who I just met who has kind of the same logic that I do.
Nice.
And they helped me think, oh, I can be like them. They're just normal people like me, but they're bringing it. They're bringing it. And so I'm like, I can bring it. I can do it. That's what it is. It's just kind of, who do you surround yourself with that's making you rise up to where you want to be?
Yeah, and that's so true. I'll even bring it down to a smaller scale for my exercising, because you guys know I love fitness, and for me, I have to go to the gym because it gets me out of the house, but it also gets me around other people of different shapes, sizes, ages, and motivates me to do more, because I'm like, oh, well, if they can do it, I certainly can do it. Let me try. Let me do this. And so it's the same type of thing. So even if you're a 9-to-5er and you don't have your business yet, you can still apply this to anything in whatever you're doing.
So true. So true. And I see you, because I've seen you at the gym before. I just envision you like kissing your pecs as they get bigger.
Definitely not that one of those selfie guys in the gym. Definitely not there. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow. I think on tomorrow's show, I'm going to be talking about this change that I'm going to do with the fitness routine. So who knows? Maybe at the end of that, we'll have a picture of that.
Do it. I want to see it. I will totally. I'll promote that. That's awesome. But yeah, and so it's been really cool. I got involved, I told you, with this group. It's called the Evolutionary Business Council, and I wasn't quite sure about them. I met some of the people. I was invited to a lunch, and I got to know more of the people, and I'm like, oh, I really like these people. I feel comfortable. Or not comfortable. I don't think that's the right term. I felt like, these people have great energy, and they're doing really interesting stuff, and I want to be a part of this.
Yep.
Right? And it was a stretch for me, because these people all were very successful, and I didn't feel that I was there yet. Yeah. But I'm getting there. And it's fun. It's exciting.
Well, and that's the thing too. You mentioned a few things, and they're all tied to feelings, right? You felt scared / feel scared at times. You felt this feeling, probably your gut saying that this is good for you, and you have to be around people that are both at your level, one step ahead, maybe one step behind. Hey, Mindy, welcome. So you have to be at these different levels in order to really be able to take in what you're being given, like being able to learn from each other. I mean, that's why so many people show up to the show here, not necessarily to listen to me for an hour all the time. I mean, if they do, great. But the more important part is that they come, they understand there's going to be a topic. They understand that there's going to be something that's going to make them feel and think and be motivated to do something else. And then they're also going to be able to connect with people in the comments, which is amazing. That's where the magic happens. And so it's like that, where you go to a mini mastermind, or you go to a meetup, or whatever it may be. Wherever you guys are, figure out what works for you and start with that. But then realize that you don't want to be, the top one in the group. You don't want to be the only one that brings things to the table. Like, you need to be around all different levels and being able to feel scared, but let that motivate you to feel like, no, this is the good. Like, I need to do this because that's what's going to push me to the next level.
It's so true. And bring people up with you.
Yes.
But I also, a good thing for people to, there's a couple of things that you just brought up that are really important. I know I listen to podcasts every day. So whether it's a show like this, which I love this show because Ed, you've done such a good job of creating a community. And so that's important. Yeah. And, and so I listen to the podcast because that just kind of gets me in the right mindset. And so that's where I'm going with this is you have to be in this mindset of, okay, yeah, I can do that. If you're playing with low level people, meaning people who are like, oh yeah, no, that's not going to work, or making your confidence go down, it's going to be so much harder to ever get to where you aspire to be.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm glad that you brought up the community part, because what happens a lot of the times, and a lot of us will do this because we're numbers based. A lot of our businesses, our social media accounts, like, they're all based off of numbers. And of course, the more numbers we have technically are supposed to be better, but they're not necessarily, especially when I'm getting to the followers and the likes and all that. Yeah. And it's hard because a lot of people will judge you based off of your number of likes on your page, or number of views on your videos, the number of followers on your Instagram. And I've never been about those numbers. And so for me, that's why we have such a strong community here, is because I don't put that out there of go like and follow my stuff. It's only do that if it works for you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to like and follow my stuff if it's not going to work for you, because it's wasting your time and it's giving my numbers a false sense of reality.
Right. And you brought up Gary Vee a little bit earlier, and I want to bring this up for you because I think it's so important for business owners, or especially those who are in the building points, to keep being consistent and doing the same thing. So that's what you have done, Ed. You do your show every single day so people see you and they know you, right? And they look forward to it. But that's what Gary Vee did. Yeah. Gary Vee did his wine show, and he didn't make money. Did he ever make money off the wine show? I don't know that he did.
I don't think so. I mean, I know he's got the wine club now, which is going to be the money part, but I don't know if the actual show made any money.
Okay. Yeah. But it was his launch pad.
Yes.
It was his launch pad to get to where he wants. So even though you feel like you're treading water,
right?
We all have. We've all felt that way, right?
Yep.
I've written so many damn blog posts, and it's like, is anyone reading them? Because it takes me a long time. But it's just staying consistent and getting those knocks and those punches, but making sure that you have that tribe behind you, that group that's supporting you, saying, yes, keep going. It's going to work. It's going to keep going. Or also saying, you know what, I think it's time for you to pivot a little bit and change what you're doing. And here's some suggestions. Here's some ideas. So it's all part of the journey. It's
so true. And that pivoting part is huge. Let me go back to, we have the 3 P's, which is I'm just seeing what it is. You have the purpose. Go ahead.
Pleasure.
Yep.
The purpose, pleasure, and profit.
Yeah. So there's those, and I'm gonna because I want to have a bonus there. I'm gonna put pivot.
Okay. The 4 steps. That's good.
Yeah. Just for this episode, just to help people out, because that pivot is going to be a big part for a lot of people, especially just starting out, because you just don't know what's going to work. You think you know what's going to work. You think that you know what people want, and that you have the right price, and that you have all of this stuff. And it definitely could work out. But I want to almost say, like, maybe I'll just say 8 out of 10 of the times, I'll just be generous there, 8 out of 10 times, it's completely opposite. It's like you thought you knew, and then once you put it out there, you're like, oh.
Nobody wants this.
Yeah. Nobody they like somewhat of the idea, but not enough to actually pay for it or to do something.
Yeah.
Mindy says, I've been pivoting, but trying not to run in circles. Yeah.
I have a really cool story of the Uggs Boots founder, Uggs Boots.
Yeah.
So he was at an event that I was at a couple weeks ago, and the cutest, most humble, sweet guy. I wanted to really take him home. He's an older gentleman, but he was darling. But he talked about his journey and talk about perseverance and being knocked down, like punched out. He had his business taken from him.
Oh no!
It was just like I was listening to him talk because he did a whole presentation, and my God, he was left, right, center. He was punched and knocked down, but he kept getting up.
Yeah.
And he found whatever he needed to do because he loved his business. He loved what it represented. He went out. So we're talking about you think you know what's going to work. So that's what inspired this idea, or this concept of Brian Smith. He's the Uggs founder. He said how he was from Australia. He was a surfer, but he came to California. He's like, I really want to find a business so I can go back there because I love California. So when he went back to Australia, he saw all the surfers, the Australian surfers, wearing the sheepskin boots. He's like, oh, that's it. So he came back over here and he partnered up with somebody, and they went to all the surf shops, and he had some kind of a crude prototype to show them, and said, hey, what do you think? And every single one of them were like, oh, that's awesome. Those are going to be so popular. Do you have them yet?
No kidding.
He's like, no, but we will. Yeah. And so, and his buddy came back with the same thing, and they're like, this is awesome. We're going to make so much money. This is a slam dunk. So they went and got a couple of investors, $70,000, and they made all these boots. Wow. But what they had forgotten to do was to get the orders. So
that's important.
They came back with all the supply, even though remember they heard from everyone how fabulous this idea was. Apparently their buyers saying, yeah, we need them, we need them, we need them. So he went back to all the stores. They're like, oh yeah, it's a great idea, but we can't afford those. We don't have anywhere to put them. So his first year of UGG sales, $1,000. Remember, he had $70,000 in debt or in loans. So, but he just kept going and he pivoted. He found out, he was making mistakes with marketing. And so he's like, oh, okay. But he really listened. He talked to people. He talked to his potential buyers to find out, okay, what is it? And he realized those supermodels and that really great camera guy, they thought it was fake. They thought that his boots seemed fake because of these models that were beautiful. So he went and got real surfers and didn't put his boots. And didn't put his boots as the front and center and took pictures from behind and they went skyrocketing. So that's the moral of the story.
I love that.
Yeah. So he was an inspiring person to keep us focused on, okay, yeah, we're not the only ones who've had challenges.
No, and I love that you shared that story because that is perfect for all of us to remember and a real life example of something that's so popular still. And I mean, I'm not an UGGs person, but to know that that's how it started is super cool. I'm like, oh, I have more respect for that now because, around here at least, you just see most people with shorts and UGGs and they're just on, they kind of look a little sloppy. But at least that's around here. But, no offense to those who wear UGGs, but it's good to know, like, there is a reason for why they came around and what started that. And then I love, too, that you brought up a few great points that I put one of them in the comments here is that when you guys are thinking about a product or a service, obviously you want to ask and listen. You want to see what's going on. But also pre-orders. And when I say pre-orders, like you may not even have your product yet, but you could do even an email list where you get emails to let them know, hey, something's launching soon. Here's a landing page. And then you have people drop their email. You guys, I did that for Stupid Easy. When StupidEasy.com was in the works, I think for almost a whole year, I had the landing page up with collecting emails. And over time, built that list. And so that gave me an idea of, okay, there's a decent need for this. I'm going to go ahead and continue building. And you can do that with your products, your services. You don't have to go get any fancy,
Your books.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Midori, did you do that for your book?
I didn't.
Okay.
Talk about mistakes that you regret. I didn't do that. But I've learned for my next book to do the pre-orders. And it's, again, you have your tribe behind you that you have been supporting too, and they will support you back. But that's makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and that's key, to be able to see that. And it's not, I wouldn't say, I don't want you to regret that because, I mean, obviously, it's kind of like, oh, I didn't do that. I should have because I didn't want to spend that money. But now and you're able to share that experience, that real life experience with all of us and help us do something different for when we try to launch something. And it's one of those things that you guys can do a simple email opt-in. You can use just the basic free feature in MailChimp. You can build your own landing page on your website. You don't have to go get a fancy lead page or ClickFunnels or any of these other programs because I know you're strapped for cash. Like you don't need to do that. And so just keep that in mind and understand that, really all you need is a Hey Ed membership and you're good to go. Just saying. But when it comes to this type of stuff, you want to be able to make note of your story. Just like Midori shared with us the UGGs story, like he made notes of what he did and what happened when he did it and how he pivoted. Now that's a huge story that he can, I'm sure, I'm just guessing here because I don't know him and I don't know like his business model now or whatever, but I can assure you guys he's probably could just go and share that story and make a decent amount of money each time just speaking on that story alone, I would guess.
as a keynote speaker, right?
Yeah.
And just FYI, his business, he has sold it. I think he may still be involved with it.
Sure.
But he did finally sell it. They make billions of dollars a year now. So going from $70,000 in debt and freaking out to this. So
yeah, and it's because he kept keeping. I want to say, I don't know if innovation is the right word, but he kept pivoting and he kept looking at how can I make this work, because he felt something inside that said, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, make it work. You're going to have some struggles along the way. You're going to have to pivot, but you're going to make it work. And we will get through this together. So let's just keep it moving forward.
And let's bring it back to what the original topic of the show is purpose, right? Mm-hmm. And how it's so important to have that, because it keeps you going. And so this is what he talked about. Yeah. He was talking about how he was so scared to do sales. He was a numbers guy. So he was the accountant and he wanted to stay behind the desk and do that because it was too scary for him to go do sales because he thought it was slimy.
Oh, yeah.
But sales, he realized something shifted in his mind. He's like, oh, I sold them X amount of boots last year and they made this much money. So I'm helping their business. And he ended up forming these relationships with his clients, the people who were buying him, who loved him. So when the competition came out, they stuck with him. Yep. They stuck with him because they loved him. He would come in and he'd make the display look nice and he'd take care of his clients the best he could. That was his purpose. That's what fulfilled him and kept him going despite all those challenges. And that's what you need when you're going through you're going through the struggles of owning a business and getting knocked down, is that greater purpose that's much bigger than you to keep you going forward. Because I don't know about you, Ed, but there's been many times where I'm like, I just don't want to get out of bed. This is so painful.
Yes. More so at the beginning stages, but it depends on what you're working on. And then yes.
Yeah. So I just thought, just listening to him, I'm like, oh, I so get it. I so understand everything he's saying. And it was just a cool success story.
What is, and you brought up a couple points tied into the purpose, the passion, which led to the profit, is that you have to be in it. You have to, it's funny because I've been reading different tweets and stuff because I'm starting to get more active on Twitter. And so I've been reading different tweets, and, I think it was Mark Cuban that had some article in Inc. or something where it's talking about, basically that forget the passion, you have to do something else. Like, I forget how he worded it, but there's these different tweets that were going out about, everyone's going to say, oh, you do what you're passionate about, but you have to do what you're good at or something like that. They broke it down in a weird way. But anyway, the point is that you still have to be passionate. You have to feel it inside, because when you go through those struggles, if you don't feel it inside from the beginning, you're going to give 2 cents and that you're like, forget it, I'm done. Like, I don't care. Like, there's no motivation behind there. But if you start with that feeling, that passion, and have that purpose there, then you're more willing to have the blood, sweat, and tears consistently poured into that business. And I loved how in the UGG experience too, the example you shared, you talked about how the appearance of UGGs being all models and dolled up, and that didn't sell. But the minute that it became real and the real people were wearing them, that's when it sold. That is exactly why, you guys, Facebook Live and live broadcasting in general is so big. That's why you're going to hear it constantly. That's why it's a game changer for your business. I can tell you for my business, it's been a game changer. I know from Midori, she's been doing those as well. And it connects you with people. It changes everything, and it's because it's real. We don't want those scripted, fake models and all this like perfect look. No, we want the realness and what's happening with it.
We want to be able to identify with it. So, Ed, when people see you on Facebook Live, they're like, oh my God, he's a real person.
Right.
I like him. I want to learn from him, and he has great advice, but you interact with him. You're talking to us, right? When we're watching. And I think I'm a marriage coach, and I think when people see me on social media. They may not all love me, but
Right.
those who want to work with me, they're like, oh, okay, she is like me. She's no different. She gets it. She's been married for, I've been the same guy for 30 years. So they can identify with you. And that was the difference. That's what his point was, is that you see him on these models. They can't, regular people, 99.9% of us can't identify with those models.
So true.
Yeah. But when we see it on those surfer dudes, we're like, oh, cool. That's me.
Yeah, it makes
not me,
so much more
yeah.
sense.
Not me.
I want to see.
I drown.
I was going to say, you're down in Southern California a lot. I want to see you going out on the surfboard and having your Uggs that you pop on after you get out of the water.
All you're going to see is me sucking air, because I am so not a water girl. Unfortunately, my husband is so blue. He said when he comes back in his next life, he's going to marry a water girl.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Surfing, I will say, surfing is so much fun, and I really do. I've gone a couple times, but only on tropical vacations, because I'm not trying to get into any dark looking water. I'm not.
Right.
This is a little too precious to be putting out there in the dark water, okay?
Totally gotcha, Ed. That's right.
That's awesome. So before we wrap up here, any other last pieces of advice? I'll make sure that you have share your links and stuff in the comments, but anything else you want to tell our viewers before I let you go?
I think a big thing is just really kind of make sure who you choose to surround yourself with. And if you look around at your friends and none of them are entrepreneurs, that's the way it was for me. It's like, okay, where can I go? What can I do? There's Facebook groups online. Interact, get involved. I love this Facebook Live, because I was already, I was on your show before I came on, and I was talking with somebody, and we're building a relationship. And if I keep seeing her on and we're talking, she's my friend.
Yes.
And, we're like-minded. If we're watching the same show, we're like-minded. And so find those groups that you work with, that you fit in with. And, if you can find a group where you can physically go and meet with them, that's so important. We need to get back. We need to get away from our computers and go connect with people. And I'm telling you, you will not regret it, because that's where I've made my biggest catapults, is by the people that I meet at these live events. I've had to stretch myself. I've had to put myself in situations where I'm like, oh, I am so not of this caliber, but I still do it. And I bring, I force myself to bring as much of an A game as I possibly can, but it works. It's worth it. It is definitely worth it.
That's so true. And that's such great advice, because in person, always, it never can compete with online. Like if you can get in person, it's always the best. And to be able to psych yourself up, because I know for me, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here, even though I want to talk to people. I don't know who to talk to, but if you psych yourself up beforehand and you're pumped and you're like, no, we're just bringing it tonight. Like, let's just do it. And you just get in there and you just start talking, then it works. And I will tell you guys, going live is a great practice. What I do here on the show has been crazy compared to what I would have done last year, and it's starting to translate over into real life, which is awesome. And it just helps. So if you're scared, you're not sure, like once you start going live consistently, you start building that up, and then it starts translating into real life as well. I mean, can I tell a quick little story, Ed, about you?
Oh, yeah. So, Ed was with me when I was doing the Periscopes, and he helped me out because he was a techie guy who knew how to do everything, and I did not. Yeah. So he would come over and help me out. And I just remember going to an event with you, Ed, and you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You were uncomfortable with that. And I had already been to events before, so I had learned to become more fluid in those situations. But to see where you've come now, and I watched you at an event that you recently got up and spoke, you nailed it. And I know it's because you've been taking these steps consistently, and it just builds up who you are. So I think that's a good message for everyone to kind of remember. You're not going to always be where you are today, as long as you know where you want to go.
Oh, I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Midori, for hanging out with us today. Please be sure to leave your links in the comments so people can check them out. And learn more about you. And I can't wait for us to have you back on the show again here soon.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks. And come to the Couples and Bubbles event. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
So everyone's invited.
That will be awesome.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Midori. Take care. You guys, how awesome was that? I'm going to bring you guys back to me real quick before I let you go. Like, that's, if you came in late, that's okay. You can watch the replay. You can listen to the beginning part because we talked a lot about a few different things. But at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is just really being able to connect, being able to share your experiences, be open with each other, go on shows, whether it's my show, a podcast, guest blogging posts, like whatever you do, whether that's blog posts, live broadcasts, audio only, like whatever you do, that's what you need to focus on. And that's where you need to go and find how you can do more of that. And know that you're going to be putting in the hard work. You're going to be doing things for free, basically, to get your name out there. But you have to also realize that there's going to be these pivot moments. And, you're going to have to say yes to some things and no to some things. And then if you're doing things for free, you have to realize that you have to then put a statement to that person or to that, whatever you're doing. Let them know that, okay, well, maybe it's free for the first 3 sessions or whatever because you need the experience. But FYI, we're going to have to start a paid program or a charge on the 4th one, or whatever it is, because I know some of you are starting out and you're like, well, I need to get testimonials, I need to practice, I need to do XYZ. That's fine, you can do that, but understand that you have to set yourself up. You have to set the right expectation for yourself and for whoever you're going to be working with, and let them know that if this is the way it's going to be, hey Paula, yes, 3 Ps are good, right? If this is the way it's going to be, then you have to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the bigger picture, which we talked about today. It's not just right now, like today you need to have, a testimonial, so you're going to do something for free. Okay, cool. But think about what's the bigger picture. What can you do past today? What can you do past that sale? Because remember, we're not about the sales today. We're about building the relationship over time. And then through that, you'll get those sales. And I can tell you, if this is your first time joining, I can tell you from experience, that is how you build a successful business. That is how you get your name out there and get known. Is don't be about the sale today, be about building the relationship. That's why I was number 1 at my 9 to 5 for sales by a long shot. It wasn't because I sold the most expensive items or the most items. It was because I understood what the customer needed and I paid attention to the relationship and building that trust, building that whole thing over. I know that wasn't that big. My mind's kind of going off to the side now, but building that whole relationship with them and not worried about what they buy today. Because if I provide my best service, if I bring my A game, like we were talking in the episode here, if I bring my A game to the table each time, it's going to work out. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but over time it's going to work out. And that's what you have to remember, that we're in it for the long haul. And I love it. And I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that you're watching the replay and that you're sharing this out and that you want to become a guest. So thank you. Thank you, Midori, for being our guest today. I got the links in their comments for you. Midori just posted hers. So be sure to check that out. If you need information about Hey Ed membership or being a guest or next week's paid live training, which won't be on the show, that's all in the comments for you. So take a look there. And I hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you here tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. Take care.